Welcome back, everyone, to my weekly series where I introduce you to new games to check out on Roblox. This is episode number 34, so what that means is there are 33 other episodes for you to check out. I will link the playlist on the top right, as well as in the description below if you want to catch up. We have 8 new games for you to check out. A lot of these are kind of scary. Some of them are not. And some of them may not be for everyone, but hey, there's a good variety here. Maybe you'll find something you like. If you do find something you like, by the way, please let me know in the comments below. It does help me know that this is useful for you and that y'all like my series. Also, if you want to support the series, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into it. So our first game here is called MotoRush. This is a motorcycle game. There is another motorcycle game that's kind of, I guess, growing in popularity. It's in early access and it's paid. I forgot the name of it. I'm sorry. Someone recommended it to me and I also saw it myself. I just don't really like promoting a whole lot of paid access games. So if you're a developer, maybe make it free instead of charging for it. So at the start of the game, they give you a choice between 3 different bikes. And once you choose it, you can go right around. And as you drive, you earn money. And I think the further you go, you tend to earn even more money. So I think at some point I was going pretty far and I was making, instead of like 10 bucks for every like 2 seconds or so, I was making like $20. So with that money, you could of course buy new bikes. Now, if you're looking for a game that has like a bunch of ramps and stuff, definitely check out Highway Hooligans. It's a driving game, not so much a motorcycle game, but this game you can do, you know, pop wheelies. You can try to avoid dying in a fiery car crash. I mean, that's kind of the goal of this game is you get a little too fast. And if you get a little too fast and hit another car, you're pretty much crashing. It just kind of shows you the real life dangers of riding a motorcycle. This is why I got rid of mine, man. I don't want to get in an accident because someone wasn't looking at my motorcycle, man. It's kind of scary out there. But yeah, in this game, you can go buy new bikes. You can get scooters. You can get all kinds of stuff. Pretty cool. You can also buy new gear. I really need a red helmet. I don't like the white helmet. I'm telling you. I need that red one. So yeah, you might see me zooming by you in this game. I don't know. I'm just a little fast. Still fast. Next up, we have a game called Horse Life. It is a game by Sonar Studios. If you remember them, they made like Dragon Adventures, Creatures of Sonaria. Made a whole lot of games. In fact, I think the main company, Twin Atlas, they made the Classic Event Hub, if you remember that. So they worked hard on that. Looked really great. Same developers made this game, and it is called Horse Life. It's all about horses. So if you love horses as much as I do, you might like this game. Personally, this isn't really my cup of tea because I'd rather just have a real horse. I don't know about you. I don't really want to go around, you know, like roping horses and, you know, putting myself in danger. But in this game, you're not in danger. You could go ride around, use your lasso, tame horses. It's kind of fun. I liked it. I was really hoping to see a little bit more variety with horses early on, but you can't do that. You can unlock, though, more horses as you go. So, of course, you know, it being Sonar Studios with Dragon Adventures, they have a fantasy spin in this game as well. So you can start getting into more like fantasy horses. And so they've got unicorns and such. It looked like you can train your horses, level up and such. You can go through obstacle courses, and there's also like different power-ups, you know, when you're out in the wilds. It also looked like there's different zones you can go to. So if you're looking for a good horse game, it seems fun. I liked it. I know there's a lot of different horse games out there. Personally, I'm just waiting for the time that I can retire from YouTube and just have a real one. I don't know about you. That's been a dream of mine since I was little. Okay, I need a horse. I need also the time for a horse. They're expensive too. So this game, they're not so expensive. You can just go and imagine having a real horse, but have it in a game. So if you want to check out Horse Life, I will link it in the description. Next up, we have a game called LoreKnights. I keep wanting to call it Loot Knights because it kind of reminds me of that, because the whole point of this game is loot. So this is a new dungeon crawler hack and slash game in the likes of like Diablo. If you've ever seen Diablo, they kind of define the genre in my opinion, but these are like these top-down kind of third person. We call them hack and slash because you're using swords typically to just like destroy everything. And yeah, this game has pretty much all that. There was another game I covered a while back that was similar to this, but if you remember, one of my comments was that the camera movement felt a little weird. Like you couldn't rotate the camera, but this game you can completely control the camera. You can see where you're going, and it has similar mechanics to that game, but this one just feels a little bit better, a little cleaner. Graphics are a little bit more Roblox oriented. I call it Roblox oriented, meaning they look like things you would see in Roblox, like the, you know, characters and such. Pretty cool dungeon crawler game if you liked even like Dungeon Quest style gameplay. This one's a little bit different in that it's easier. It's pretty, like, you can't really die inside easy mode. Like, there's different hearts you can go around and pick up if you're dying. And you go around getting loot. And then at the end, you want to come back to the lobby. And then, of course, you can, like, you know, craft new items. You can craft better weapons. You can get armor. And there's a whole marketplace and such. So lots of gameplay depth to this game. If you're looking for something you can grind for a while, maybe get better gear, and then just, you know, venture further and further, this might be for you. Our next game here is called Lucid, and I've been watching this one on Twitter for a bit, or X, whatever we want to call it these days, and it's pretty cool. So it's supposed to be a horror story game. I don't know that I would put it in the horror category. It's not that scary. I mean, it kind of has a couple things that are, you know, like sudden, like there's a bit of suspense in the game, but it doesn't really scare you. And I don't think it really tries hard enough to scare you. So I probably put it more in a Rainbow Friends and Garden of Banban category, just kind of maybe a little toned down, a little younger kind of audience. So when I say that, it means it's probably not going to scare you if you play it. In fact, it's nowhere near scary. So I put this one a little bit earlier because, you know, I think even younger audience could probably play it. I don't think there's anything in here that would be bad for a younger kid to play. But it's simple to play. The, you know, instructions are like super clear, maybe too clear. And there's lots of puzzles for you to solve. Most of them are just like go and collect all these things. And there's not really much of a danger to it. It does get a little bit harder at the end. I did die. And I was thinking, I was like, this game's not very scary. And there's no way for me to potentially die. And then of course I died at the end. So kind of shame on me for thinking, you know, I was too safe. But the game does have a lot of potential. There's a lot of cool like cut scenes. There's good voiceovers. There's good animations. I think it just needs to be a little bit scarier and a little bit more complicated. So Lucid, kind of cool. Like it. Definitely go check it out. It's well done. Now, fans of That's Not My Neighbor are probably going to like this one. I liked it a lot. I kind of got hooked on it, and I ended up recording like way more content than I needed for this game because I was having so much fun. But Trespasser is a new game that's kind of like in the same genre of That's Not My Neighbor or Not My Robloxian. And these are those games where you have to kind of, you know, see if someone should be let in or not. That's only a small aspect of this game. This game is more about keeping your doors closed, keeping, you know, an eye on things like your generator and such. So it has a little bit of like a FNAF kind of feel to it. At the same time, you're playing like this whole border checkpoint, whether or not they should be allowed to be even inside the hotel. So you're essentially a security guard trying to keep an eye on things. There is a nightmare that can sneak in. So you have to keep an eye on all the different exit doors. You need to make sure those are closed at all times. So if they get open and you leave it open too long, the nightmare can come in and then kill you. And if it does get in, you kind of have to hide inside these crates, which is it's kind of cool. It's a lot easier in my opinion than That's Not My Neighbor. In that you don't really have to go through files and stuff. You just have to look at the characters, see what they're saying. And if they're being sus, then you pretty much just yeet them and then you call the hotline and maybe, I don't know what they do to them, but pretty fun game. I liked it a lot. Really easy to play and got me a little bit. There was a jump scare. I'm not going to show you the jump scare because I want you to get jump scared and I want you to like freak out a little bit. So definitely check out Trespasser. I liked it a lot. Our next game was probably the most recommended game in the past like week and a half, and it is Attack on Titan Revolution. I don't know. I wasn't going to feature this game, and then I just kept seeing comment after comment. Please, DV, feature this game. Check this game out. So I did, and I'm glad I did because it is a beautifully made Attack on Titan game. A lot of people ask me if I watch anime, and Attack on Titan is probably the only one that I've really enjoyed besides a little bit of One Piece. So I played some different Attack on Titan games on Roblox, and I believe this one was like a remake of another game, but the ones I had played before just weren't really all that good. In fact, I don't think they were even finished yet because most of the gameplay just didn't exist. This game has a pretty cool mechanic. It's kind of like a dungeon game where you go in, you got to go through and complete the objectives. I would definitely recommend more players. So I had to go in solo because they don't really use cross-server matchmaking. I feel like they should, but the lobbies are not cross-server. So if you join a lobby and no one's queuing or there's no matches available, you might want to server hop until you find one because playing with others is kind of like necessary. You could solo it because there's way too many Titans that you got to kill. And I was getting it, but it takes a long time to kill these guys. And so highly recommend play with more players if you can. The mission that I got was an easy one, and the mission was simple. You just had to kill like 16 Titans. It just took a lot of time. And how you kill them, by the way, is through the back of their head, which is pretty in line with the actual like series, is that you want to get them in the back of their heads because that's where I don't want to spoil anything, but watch the series if you really are curious. If you might already know, but you got all kinds of like moves and abilities. The grapple, if you don't know how to grapple, just hit Q if you're on PC. The grappling aspect of this game is probably the most addictive. Like I could pretty much just sit in this game and grapple around the world and I'm totally satisfied. That's good enough for me to enjoy this game. It's a lot of fun to use the grapple. The distance or the range on these things are insane. You can also like jump in the middle of the grapple and it'll launch you even faster. So the physics in the game itself makes the game fun. And then of course you have the objective, which if you really want to follow along, you can, but I was just having fun just zooming around the map. Our next game is kind of a jump scare style game. So if you're not liking jump scares, maybe you don't like scary games, this one's probably not for you, but this game is called There Is No Escape, and it's a pretty interesting psychological story. I don't really want to spoil the story, so I gotta like choose my words wisely here, but it is a nicely crafted story game where you have to follow the different objectives. There are different endings, and based on your choices, you might see a different ending. So you just have to be a little bit careful with that. But beyond that, it's pretty much on rails. You know, you just do what it says to do. Look around the world, read the different post-it notes or sticky notes. Just look at all the different clues, look at the photos, and maybe kind of figure out what you think is going on based on what you see. And that's kind of what it's all about. It's a psychological story game. It is supposed to be scary. I didn't really find it all that scary. Actually, I take it back. Okay, it did jump scare me once. So it did get me, but it was only once and I didn't expect it. So, but yeah, fun game. Like it. It's a little dark, so keep that in mind. And finally, our most twisted game of all. This one's probably the most violent game I've seen in a moment, in fact, but it's so much fun. So this game is called Death Penalty. And as you can tell, just by the name itself, we're into some trouble here. So Death Penalty is a like kind of a mini game style thing where you queue up, I think the minimum is like 18 players, and you all go into a Squid Game style experience with a twist. Again, you're all prisoners with a death basically sentence. And inside that, you have a robot kind of thing, or a computer, and that computer is going to decide who is going to die or have a chance to live. So in the middle of the prison, you're going to notice this machine, and there's this like wheel with a bunch of names. So essentially all the different prisoner names are on this wheel, and it spins and it randomly picks people. But before it chooses any names, it does first choose the mini game. We'll call it mini games, but basically it's a challenge. So you could end up with like a trap door, which, you know, someone has to like choose who's going to go and fall through that trap door. You can end up with a duel. So two players have to duel each other. So they randomly choose two different players, and then the first person to shoot wins. Sometimes they'll give weapons to people. Sometimes you'll have like Simon Says. So there's lots of different challenges that can happen, and that's how you survive in the game. So, there's a lot of games like this on Roblox, even like Survivor or Outlast, I guess they call it now. Fun game. There's some blood in here. So, it's kind of like PG-13 in my opinion, so keep that in mind. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video this week. Let me know if you have any new game recommendations in the comments below. We're getting a little light on these recommendations, so please give me those in the comments below. You can also tweet me at Dark Viper. That is what DV stands for, not the other thing. You could also suggest them on my Discord at discord.gg/dvplays. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the series, and I'll see you in the next vid. Peace.